YouTube at the same time. And it's working. There we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Way That I See It. So mixing things up this time, going live on YouTube. It's my very first live on YouTube. I normally just do these recorded for a quick 10 minutes, but I had a massive moment of inspiration and I was like, right, I need to get this out there. I need people to hear what I am about to say, because it is stuff that I have been thinking and knowing, and just stuff that I know for sure, that I think that sometimes other people don't know. And I think that sometimes when we don't know something, what that means is we don't do anything with it, right? We don't know what we don't. So if you know something, you have to take action on it. If you don't know something, you don't take action on it. So what I wanted to share with you today is all about your money story. Now, what I mean by your money story is not just your money mindset, is not just about what you want or what you desire with money. And they're two things we'll be talking about a lot over the next coming weeks. So just know that that's going to be something that I'm going to be talking a lot about, but actually more on the fact that it's the story that you relate to. It's the story that you're telling. It's the mindset and the behavior that you live by every single day. That is the thing that has the biggest impact on your business, on your life, on your relationships, but ultimately on your financial reality. And so I really have a mission over the next couple of months till the end of 2022. So if you listen to this later, it is October 2022. But over the next couple of months before 2023 comes in, I have the massive desire to help people transform their financial reality. So what that really means is I want to help people transform how they live, how they earn, how they spend, how they save, what their business looks like. And the reason I feel that way is that I have done this over and over and over. I have literally transformed my financial reality tens of thousands of times. I mean, on a daily basis, right? So I've done this so many times that I honestly, the life and the business and the reality that I have today is almost unrecognizable from even just a few years ago. And that is because I chose to do the work, to work on my financial reality, to work on all of those factors. So not just one of those pieces, right? So what a lot of people do is they work on maybe manifesting money, or what a lot of people do is maybe they work on, being strategic with saving, or maybe they're somebody that really manages every pound or penny that they spend, right? But the reality is you need to do all of it. And I have come to a realization and a place in my life that I have realized that the story that I tell myself ultimately dictates the actions that I take, and the actions that I take dictate the results that I get, and the results that I get dictate how I feel, and then in turn that dictates the next set of thoughts and the next set of actions. But ultimately the way that I feel is what dictates it all. And so that really comes down to your money story. So my money story has changed over the years, and I'm sure yours will too. And some of the things that I would say about your money story is that your story is something that likely you inherited. So sad times, but most of us inherited our money story from our parents, from our upbringing, or from our experience in our early formative years. And as much as that's a bit shit, because we're like, oh, great, thanks very much, mum or dad or whatever it might be, actually, in reality, it just is what it is. But what that's so empowering to know is that we have the ability to change that, is that we have the ability as adults, as grown-ups, because I doubt there's anybody sub 18 listening to this podcast, right? We have the ability to change our financial reality with money in all of those areas by simply transforming the money story. Because when we transform the money story, we then transform the way that we think, we transform the way that we act, we transform the way that we feel, we transform our results. So my advice, first of all, is to get really, really clear on what your story is. Now, I can't tell you what your story is, only you know. So normally it will show up in your life. So if you looked at your life right now, there will be something about your life that means your story is very evident. So an example might be, there is always too much month at the end of money, right? So you always get to the 25th and you're like scraping on your overdraft for the next 5 days, or maybe all your bills just about get paid, but there's never anything left over. Or maybe there's never just enough, and there's always a bit of borrowing and lending back and forth. Those three things indicate very different stories. So where there's not enough month left, there's too much month left at the end of money, there might be a story there that's like, I live full out, I live for the best, and money will turn up when it's, when I get paid, right? And although that sounds really simple and obvious, actually what you have to think about is the fact that money can actually come into your experience all the time, and money actually can be in your experience in an abundant way every single day, and does not just 20 days of the month, right? And the second story about there's only ever just enough to pay for everything, that's a story of just enough. And the third story around, there's never any money for extra or things like that, like that's a story too. And what I want you to know, what I want you to understand is that that's not reality. That's not fact. It's your current financial experience and your current financial reality, but it's not fact, right? The reason that you always have just enough, or you don't always have just enough, or you always have just more than enough, or you always have just enough to pay off the minimum payments on the credit cards or whatever it might be, right? That is because of the experience that you have on a daily basis, because of the stories that you tell on a daily basis. And so, what I really hope to empower you to know over the next coming weeks and months is really that you have the power to change that. Now, the challenge that comes with that, right, is a heavy sense of responsibility. And what most people don't want to do is they don't want to accept that they have the power to change it. They want to blame the economy. They want to blame their parents. They want to blame their job. They want to blame the unions. They want to blame whatever it is, right? And that is truly because when we realize we have the power to change something, it means we have to take responsibility for that area of our life. And that is fucking terrifying. Fucking terrifying when you realize that you are the only one responsible for what happens next in your reality, whether that is in your financial reality, your relationship, your body, business, right? And so for me personally, actually, this was terrifying too for a long time. But when I fully recognized the fact that I was the one in control, I was the one in charge, I was the one with the power, right? When I realized all of that, that is when I was able to really start to begin transforming my financial reality. And I've transformed my financial reality in, marginal increments, so marginal gains, so baby steps. I've also done it in massive quantum leaps. I have manifested some serious money. I've manifested 30 grand once in a space of 3 days. I have manifested recently, and this is nothing to do with how much earning money. This is money not earned, right? Because we're going to get into some money stories and money beliefs about earning and things like that. But one of the things that I've done is I've recently manifested nearly £10,000 from something completely nothing to do with work. I have another 7,500 on the way from something else. And I've been able to do that because the money story that I tell facilitates that to happen. And, exciting news. The new mini money mindset course is coming. I'm so excited. The launch of that is going to be very beginning of November. It's going to be a mini course. It's going to be a low cost course because here's the thing. When I first started personal development, I had no fucking money, right? And the challenge was that I found that you were either in books and Audible or you were in high ticket coaching. And look, I'm not against high ticket coaching. I think it has a time and a place. I think it has an audience. I think it has a meaning. I think it creates an illusion that if you pay more, you get better value. Not sure that's necessarily the truth, right? But I also believe that the coach is charging their worth. And I think that's what's really important. But for me, I want people to have this information. So it's going to be quite a low cost course. So if you're interested in that, make sure to be subscribed to this podcast, to this YouTube channel, wherever you end up watching it, to make sure that you get first information on that. And if you want to get my free money ebook, it's a multiple page, I can't remember, I think maybe 5-page ebook, all about money mindset, all about how I transform my story with money and my top 5 tips for transforming your relationship with money. Go to lucysuperfox.com/shop and you will find it there free of charge for £0 and 0 pence to download and watch. To be able, there's a little hidden embedded video link for you to sneakily watch, but also for you to read and take practical action on. So if you're somebody that wants to transform your money mindset, but maybe right now money feels like there's literally not enough money to even think about how you can invest in yourself, that's the first place I would start, is my free ebook. But with that mini course launching, I think what I really wanted to share with people is, I'm going to share so much free information, but if you feel like you're like, right, enough is enough, it's time, it's freaking time for me to transform my money story, my financial reality with money, then this mini course could be for you. So make sure to stay tuned, more information coming over the coming days. So I think what I really want people to understand is that we get what we expect, we get what we're available for, and that comes because of the stories that we tell ourselves, the reality that we live every day. So when we say things like, oh God, I'm so fat, we then justify our behavior to eat shit. When we say things like, oh, I'm so lazy, we justify our ability to not work our business or to not invest in our, time in going to do something like go to the gym. When we say things like, oh, I'm just crap at love, right? We give ourselves a reason not to get off the sofa and get out of the house. And then we actually create the very thing that we're saying that we're rubbish at. So what I want you to know is if your financial reality fucking sucks right now, then actually the first step is changing your story. And this is not about delusion. I think where sometimes personal development and the concept of manifestation gets a little bit misconstrued, right, is that people think that we're saying tell a delusional story and hope that it happens. And that's not at all what changing your reality and changing your story with money is. Changing your story with money starts in baby increments. It starts in those baby steps. But the way that we speak about money, the way that we speak about what's possible, the way we speak about our business, the way we speak about our body, our relationship, the way we speak into anything dictates how we feel about the thing, and that in turn dictates our action. When we're excited about something because we have hope, we have possibility, we have dreams, we take freaking action. And that action always will have results when it comes from a good feeling place, right? And if you don't, not really about the law of attraction, metaphysics isn't for you, then just think about it this way. If someone said to you, we're going to this event tonight, and you're like, oh God, dread it, the event's probably going to be terrible, right? Whereas you think, oh my God, the event's really there. Everyone's like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. You should come. It's going to be so exciting. You're probably going to have an amazing time, right? Because the energy that you go in is basically the way you set your intention. So if you set your intention every morning in a crappy way, like, oh, it's going to be shit today, it's going to be a hard day, today's going to be a horrible day. If you keep setting your intention in that direction, that's what you're going to get more of. And so this is why a morning mindset routine is really important, right? Because then what you do is you set your intentions for the day. You give your brain something to work with. Like, most people don't actually realize that your brain is like a filter, and it will filter for what you tell it to filter for, just like a tumble dryer filters for lint, right? And if you continually filter for crap, you're going to keep getting more crap. So when we're telling a narrative or a story about something being negative, we get more and more of the negative. And so it's your responsibility, and it's in your control and your power for you to transform your story with money and your relationship with money by first being able to assess and be honest about the story you are currently telling with money. If you want to change your financial reality, it first starts with the way that you talk and think about money. So I'm going to be doing an intense money series. Like I said, you can download the free money ebook at lucysuperfox.com/shop. It's £0 and 0 pence. And I'm going to be sharing much more content all around money here on this podcast, this YouTube, and on my Instagram at Next Level Lucy. And no doubt some of that will bleed into at Lucy Superfox as well. But what I really want to share with you is so much of my free knowledge and information, how I've manifested lump sums of money, how I have gone from earning, a maximum £2,500 a month as a corporate salaried employee to basically multiplying that by almost 10 on some good months, right? That's where I'm currently at right now. And so what I want you to know is that comes from a place of sometimes making marginal gains and sometimes making quantum leaps. But the first step to doing either of those things, right, is setting your intention that you want to change. And that first comes from starting to be aware of the things that you're saying. So my advice to you is this, from this podcast video, wherever you're watching this, is to first start to take audits, to take stock of the way that you speak about money, to start to think about the way that you describe money, the way that you talk about it, the way that you have conversations. And if you find yourself having conversations, you're like, whoa, 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 and they're in the opposite direction of the thing that you say you want, stop yourself. Stop yourself and change the direction. Now, look, like a freight train, you ain't going to stop it and turn it around in 3 seconds, right? But what you can do is slow it down. And so your aim over the next couple of days before the next podcast lands, before my next email lands, is to simply take stock of the way that you speak about money, take stock of the way that you think about money, and instead start to be aware of the things that you are saying to yourself in order to transform them. So, as always, that was the way that I see it. Here I am with a lovely pineapple on my head, unwashed hair, because at the end of the day, it's never about how I look, it's about what I have to say. And so that was, as always, the way that I see it with Lucy Superfox. I would love if you would like, subscribe, and comment below if you found this video valuable. If you took something from this podcast, if it benefited you in any way, I would love you to share it, recommend, tag me on social media, and let me know what you thought, or drop me a DM on the Instagrams. So have the most beautiful week. The next podcast will be coming soon. We're going to be staying focused on money for a little while, because I really believe right now is the time that everybody has the power to transform their financial reality. See you soon.